Hi, welcome to Armchair Philosophy. I'm Rubin and today I'll be talking about Bushido. Bushido is often represented in samurai movies and martial arts dojos as a code of tenets, kind of like the Ten Commandments. But that isn't exactly an accurate representation. It would probably be difficult to represent Bushido accurately in any film or during a karate lesson. So, what is it? Bushido is a fairly esoteric ethical system created in Japan, which has its foundations in the earliest Japanese writings from the late 8th century. It lost most of its favor to general progressivism in the early 20th century, but remnants of Bushido can still be found in Japanese culture today. There isn't a strict set of rules, though. While you can find various sets of Bushido values in various works of Japanese literature, they vary from book to book. The Bushido values aren't necessarily laws which have to be followed, and they have been used in order to justify various contradictory positions as well. For example, some Bushido manuals say that you should unerringly follow the word of your superior. But other ones say that you should question them and even debate them when you have moral dilemmas. Instead of laws, they encourage a kind of intuitive moral system, kind of like what's proposed by Immanuel Kant. Unlike Kant's proposed moral system, Bushido instead relies on the fundamental principles which are set out by Shinto, Buddhism, and Neo-Confucianism. Bushido, then, is an interesting syncretization which occurred between these systems within Japanese culture, and it primarily had its effect on the samurai caste. Literally translated as the way of the warrior, Bushido emphasizes the Neo-Confucianist values of authority, justice, and filial piety. This resulted in a dominant samurai class made up of various powerful and rich families or clans. Justification for the oppression of the masses could easily be had through an authoritarian system like that emphasized by the Neo-Confucians. And with rising nationalism being encouraged throughout Japan through the Shinto religion, that led to the people readily accepting military dictators and emperors. Oftentimes, samurai would terrorize villages and plunder their resources, if not literally, then through overbearing taxation of rice, which forced many poor families into the agriculture industry. Like the Indian caste system, you had nobles, farmers, peasants, craftsmen, and traders. You were essentially stuck with what you were born into unless you chose to become a monk or a priest. And while Shinto expressed a strong nationalism, Buddhism, which I made another episode on, encouraged a kind of passive resistance or docile nature, which spread throughout all of Japan. In effect, the spread of Buddhism, along with various legislation, made the people docile and either unwilling or unable to stop others from ruling over them. But Bushido wasn't all bad. It encouraged a kind of honorable justice to be upheld by those most suited to uphold it. The military commanders simply understood battle, so they were relied on for that and respected for their ability. It was enough to justify their authority, and likewise the emperor, through his divine grace, was also seen as the most well-suited for his position. While that kind of view isn't really popular today, to the Japanese, who at the time had an entire religion and philosophy centered around authoritarian nationalism, it made perfect sense. And in reality, it isn't unlike Aristotle's politics or the various monarchies which are still in power today. Besides being heavily authoritarian, Bushido was also a lot like chivalry. It saw the importance of honor and dignity, and it emphasized that moral values are more important than life. One of the more popular books on Bushido is Hagakure, which almost explicitly states that someone following Bushido should be willing to lay their life on the line to accomplish any task. Their reason for living is to find a good death, so they must be willing and able to do whatever they need to do. From Hagakure, quote, I have come to understand that the way of the samurai is that of dying. When a warrior comes to a life or death situation, there is for him only the quick choice of death. There are no other details. Be determined and advance. To say that dying without reaching one's aim is to die in vain is frivolity of wimpish samurai. When pressed with the choice of life or death, it is no longer necessary to gain one's aim. We all want to live, and in large part, we reason our way to clinging to life. Now, not pursuing our aim and continuing to live, that is cowardice. This is a thin and dangerous line. But if you sacrifice everything to obtain yourself and die short of fulfilling it, you have nothing to be ashamed of. This is the essence of the way of the samurai. You must die anew every morning and every night. If you continually preserve the state of death in everyday life, you will understand the essence of Bushido, and you will gain freedom in the way. Your whole life will be without blame, and you will succeed in your calling. When taken to its extreme, Bushido serves us an image of what it sees to be as the best possible person. They must be just and honorable, and a warrior and a poet. If this were actualized, it may be a viable system, but history has shown us that it usually leads to dictatorship and oppression. But that's all for this time on Armchair Philosophy. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like and comment, and subscribe if you want to follow our content. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. And if you want to talk to us, you can talk to us at MilwaukeeAtheist.com, where you can also buy t-shirts. Oh, and we still have mugs for sale. The link will be in the description. That's all. Bye-bye.